President Trump says peace talks continue with Iran even after a weekend of airstrikes between the U.S. and Tehran. Right now, the Strait of Hormuz remains blocked as oil tankers are unable to pass through the critical waterway. That continues to drive up the price of oil and gas. Tonight, the Baltimore Banner reports the war could lead to a shortage of motor oil, and that means your next oil change could cost as much as 40% more. To break down the looming economic warning, Nate Chinenko joins us now. He tracks the auto industry. Nate, thanks for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Nate, you spoke with the Baltimore Banner about what we're seeing with oil prices. A lot of consumers are already seeing sticker shock when they go get their oil change. Paint the current landscape for us now.
You nailed it with the intro. And the current landscape is there's simply not enough motor oil. So you could look at the oil and where it comes from, and about 10% of the motor oil comes from the Middle East through the Strait. 10%, it's not so bad. The problem is 44% of the base stock for synthetic motor oil that goes into most cars that most Americans drive comes from the same place. And we don't have enough of it here. We can't import enough of it right now. So we expect to see shortages of motor oil, which will, of course, drive the prices up.
So in addition to the higher gas prices that people have noticing at the pump, you say drivers are about to notice some higher prices when they go to the mechanic, including oil change. What should consumers expect as they go into summer?
I'll break this down in two pieces. We just released a report on the cost of servicing your car. And the cost of servicing your car goes up by about 8% a year. And those who know your inflation statistics know that that's much higher than the rate of inflation across the rest of the economy. So there's broad price increases across the whole service industry. Regarding oil specifically, when there's a shortage of the product, then the prices will rise to keep up with it. And it's pretty hard to defer an oil change. You can't really put it off for too long. So people will end up paying more money for those oil changes, just like they are for the rest of the service on their cars.
Yeah, you can't put off that oil change, especially when families want to travel and hit the road for the summer. What is your advice for drivers who are going to be traveling and taking their families on trips this summer?
The summer road trip is the catalyst here. People are used to leaving on Friday afternoon. They wake up on Friday morning. They realize, oh, that sticker on my window says I need an oil change pretty soon. They go to the oil change place that morning and they're good to go. That's not going to work for you this summer. You should plan ahead just by a few days. There's not going to be a widespread outage where there's no motor oil in the country, but it may not be where you want it to be when you want it to be there, like you have been used to. So the first thing is to plan ahead for shortages. The second thing is expect to pay a little bit more. If you've been paying $85, $90, $100 for an oil change, you will be paying more than that in the future. So to summarize, shortage of oil means plan ahead. Also plan ahead for higher prices.
Are you anticipating any kind of relief? And what are you watching for as this Iran war wears on?
The Strait of Hormuz has to open up before enough oil will start flowing back into this market to replenish us from shortage conditions. One of the biggest challenges is that these Group 3 base oils, they mostly come from the Middle East. They have the best oil that makes this synthetic motor oil. So we can't just retool our refineries and our production lines to make this stuff here. We have to import it. And if it doesn't start flowing, we're not really going to see relief until that does happen. And a trickle of ships, one every few days, depending on the day, is not enough to replenish us.
All right, Nate Chinenko, thanks so much for joining us with your insight and the important information.
Thank you very much.